Welcome to the most horsepowerful podcast on the internet, the Xbox Drive. Before we get this show on the road, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and ring that bell on YouTube, and leave a 5-star rating or review on your podcatcher of choice. If you want to continue the conversation after the show, make sure you join the Carpool Gaming Discord. For exclusive content and all the Carpool shows in one simple feed, head over to patreon.com/carpoolgaming. Finally, head over to carpoolgaming.com for all of your merch needs. Now, with all that out of the way, you better buckle up, Buttercup, because it's time for the Xbox Drive.
Greater than X.
Hey everyone, it's me, Sean Capri. I'm glad you're here because you're watching the most horsepowerful podcast on the internet. It's the Xbox Drive. I'm on a Skype call with my good friend Donnie Reece from PSVG. Look at this, the man, the myth, the legend, where this is the show everybody wants, they need. Donnie, thanks for being here tonight with me, my friend.
Absolutely.
How are you doing?
Wouldn't have missed it for the world, my man.
Hell yeah. On the week that we celebrate Xbox, we bring in Xbox. We bring in Donnie Reece, man.
I was worried about that. I was like, are you sure?
Well, everybody's celebrating freedom. V is still peacefully resting. So we're excited to have you on the show. I think we're surprising people a little bit this week. We missed last week. That was all my fault. I'm all jacked up. I'm selling my house, Donnie. I had people in my house like 25 minutes ago. People wandering around here, looking at all my collectibles behind me and everything.
On your walls, pulling on hinges, like.
Yeah. I don't know. It's very strange. You know, I don't know the last time you ever sold a house, but like just
2015.
Yeah, 10 years. Look at that.
I was very lucky. I will definitely keep this short. I thought I was taking another job. I ended up taking it, but we had already committed to sell the house.
Mm-hmm.
But we were lucky. We had friends that had a kid that just wanted to buy a house. He came by, like literally didn't even walk around. He looked at it and he was like, yeah, I'll buy it. And
where are these people? I need these people to buy our house because
like,
I'm not like that at all.
Whenever you move out. So like we had all the time to take and everything. It was very convenient.
Oh, wow. That's
but
nice.
In hindsight, I wish I never did.
Oh, really?
I bought that house for next to nothing. I would have had it paid off by now if I stayed.
Oh, I hate thinking about that.
But
oh no.
But I didn't. I moved and yeah, I don't know if I'll ever pay this one off, but that one I would have had done.
None of us ever will. That's not possible. That's not the dream anymore,
Donnie. It does
Donnie.
feel like it doesn't matter. Like, you're like, who cares?
Yeah. We'll just play some video games in the meantime. Speaking of video games, speaking of the Xbox Drive, we got Mitch, Bowser, and Fee all peacefully resting this week. We got Donnie in. Before we go ahead and get to the
I apologize
in
advance, Mitch.
The what?
I apologize in advance.
Oh, Mitch is fine. Mitch is resting.
Apologize for the words that are about to be said for me.
Mitch. I think we need a dose of what we're gonna get today. I think this is. We'll get into it, but before we get into the show, we got a little bit of housekeeping. We normally got Mitch hitting the housekeeping button, and Fee screams out "housekeeping." I want to let you guys know that we're so thankful to Nuke the Bridge for upgrading to that exclusive tier earlier this week. Thank you, Nuke the Bridge. You rule, my friend. And by the way, you can go to patreon.com/carpoolgaming if you haven't already. Go check out that latest Pants Patreon podcast for Patrons podcast. Lachlan's Pants episode is out now. Seth is up next. Sometime I'll get back onto that show, and you guys can ask me what's really burning on your brains for me. Fulia also made an amazing video that's now on our YouTube channel, just launched earlier today. We're keeping those vibes going with the Summer Game Fest. We had some nice scenes and everything from the hosts over at Carpool Gaming. So go to youtube.com/carpoolgaming. And I'm back on the Nintendo Drive. Nice. I took a couple of months off, and I'm back last night, and so you can check it out over there. And anybody who supports us, Donnie, at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, they've heard you before on that there Patreon feed with our sweet hangs. Normally, when you and I get together, we podcast for a good, 6 hours or so. Yeah. We're going to try and keep focused. We're going to try and keep focused this week. The other thing I want to mention too, you can go to carpoolgaming.com, get your Summer Game Fest merch. We saw a couple orders going out there. We love when you guys get your merch. I'm wearing some merch right now. Y'all look so great in it.
Nice.
It doesn't itch your skin, Donnie. That's the promise that we're making out to people right now that I just made up on the spot here. And that's
guaranteed.
That's pretty much it. I want to do a quick housekeeping. Get out of here, housekeeping lady, because I don't know. Donnie, it's up to you. Guest choice. Do you want to do what you're playing first, or do you want to dive into the week that was? What do you want to do?
We only have
man?
90 minutes. Let's get into it.
All right, man. Tough week for Xbox. We have been, this is episode 393, a palindrome, by the way.
Yeah.
Been covering Xbox on this show since before Game Pass was a thing. Like, we covered the launch of Game Pass on this show. And so we've been doing this a long time. I don't know that I can remember a week quite like this one, man. This is pretty rough. And so just to kind of give everybody a heads up, normally we don't really do the news here on the Xbox Drive. We keep it light. What you playing? What are you geeking out about? All that kind of stuff. I felt like it might be a little, I'm just making an executive decision here, like that John Travolta and Kurt Russell movie. No, that might have been Black Arrow or something. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I'm making the decision. We're going to talk about this, man, because I'm affected by it, I feel. As a gamer, as a content creator, as somebody who's has a Xbox-centric podcast, man. What the hell?
As a person that wants people to have jobs.
Yep. Yes. Yeah.
Like at a very human level.
Yep.
I mean, there's nothing else to say about it. It sucks.
Mm-hmm.
If there was goodwill left for Xbox,
yeah,
if they still had any, which they don't for me, but if they did, I think they used it.
Pretty rough.
They just depleted it. Like, I would not doubt or shame anybody that was like, I'm done. If they just threw their hands up and was like, no, I'm not, I don't want to support this anymore. Now, if you're still on board, be my guest. Like, there's nothing, you don't need to worry about this. You can just turn a blind eye to it if you want. And in some ways, like, that might be a better way to live. You're like, it's not my job. It's not my, my company to run, but like, there's nothing good. There's no silver lining in this. There's none. At a human level, people have lost jobs. At a I guess a fanboy level, an enthusiast level, a supporter.
Yeah,
level, you've lost games, you've lost studios.
Yep.
And then I would, maybe to give you a lily pad to jump from, talking about this news in our Discord all this week, especially on our podcast this past week with Chalfie, I just can't help but reminded of how wrong and different I saw this company going 5 years ago.
Yeah.
I was so on board for a pitch and an idea that I thought made a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, like, this is the future, and I'm here to support them. And, like, there's my biggest part, I know there's like 1,000 thoughts, and we can go through them one at a time, but like my biggest takeaway is that I really felt a sense of safety, a sense of security, knowing that a lot of these brands and franchises and characters that I had loved and grew up loving, I thought they were safe in the Xbox cadre of stuff.
Yep.
I was like, surely they're fine with the trillions and trillions and trillions dollar corporation.
Yep.
They can find a way to get a perfect art game out. They can find a way to do right by these other things. And now, how do you feel safe about that? That's the part that's like somewhat shaking me to my core. Like, you can be angry about all this, and I think, as with all things, the anger will ebb and flow. The moment they announce the next game, Gears comes out, like, people will be back, right? And they'll just keep moving on, because this is what we do. You can't just sit around and dwell about this at all.
I can't argue with that. I really have a hard time picturing it, but you're right. Like, that is probably the right call. Things will get better. They always
resume
seem
back to normal as soon as they release a video game. And listen, for the people that think maybe
terrible.
they disagree with me, remember last year Microsoft fired 10,000 people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Earlier this year, they fired 4,000 people.
Yeah.
This isn't a new thing. It's not the first thing, right? This has happened already, and it keeps happening.
Yeah.
And that's the part that is, I still hold out some love for Team Green deep inside my soul, but I feel shaken to the core, and that
so do
belief.
So do I. And I've look, and people can listen back to this show and many other appearances I've made talking about Xbox for many, many years, going like, you know what? Like, everybody's too hard on them. They're not really seeing the bigger picture. Like, there's all these other things to be excited about, blah, blah, blah. Maybe it's just where I'm at generally in life right now. I'm not at my best these days. So it's like, maybe that's also having me just like that shaken, that I feel like I've got whiplash.
It's an inflection point.
Yeah, I think
it's
so.
enough that you have to take stock of what happened and account for like what your support is and where you're moving forward.
You know what it is for me this time, Donnie, that I think might be different is this. I thought with the whole Activision thing, with the power of the brands and the games from Activision and the just might of the market from Microsoft, this $1 trillion company that you referred to, like that should be a match made in heaven. Just dominate. Let's just go make games.
Yeah.
And I feel foolish. And I think that's the whiplash that I feel this week is like, oh man, I really kind of, I'm a dum-dum. I feel like a dum-dum.
Yeah.
And I think I even like, I don't know that we really promoted it or really went out on we didn't bring out our Xbox flag over the last couple of years going like, yeah, they did it. They spent $69 billion and they got all these things. Like, I don't think we really did that on the show, but certainly I think there was a general agreement that this is a good thing. It seemed like people thought it was a good thing, even though we should have known better that this like corporate conglomerate that just keeps getting bigger and bigger. It's like, there's going to be redundancies. There's going to be layoffs. There's going to be all these different things. So, you know, originally, just last week, actually, the week that we took off, Jason Schreier, as a lot of people probably have already seen, but maybe it's worth just grounding us here. Jason Schreier announced that a major round of layoffs were coming to Microsoft and Xbox. And we've seen that, as you mentioned before, we've seen Microsoft before. I don't remember seeing something this significant hit Xbox before. And I'd like, maybe we just kind of like, normally after like a summer game fest or E3, we go like, pick your top 5 favorite announcements from the showcase. Wow. What are maybe some of the top ones that really hit you, man? And I can give you a second to think about it. But for me, as an old school Xbox fan who loves racing games, Turn 10 it's devastating to me.
Gut punch.
It's absolutely a gut punch. We've been getting some more details. I'm referencing a lot of stuff I'm going to be talking about from www.purexbox.com, and they were reporting, among others, Turn 10 has been decimated to the point that the crew that is left there is basically there to keep Forza Motorsport, the latest game, just keep it running.
And they're a support studio for what we believe to be Playground's next Horizon game.
That's insane. How did this like? This is where I'm like, that's where I'm shaking. How did we get here? How did this happen?
I definitely want to have that conversation. But the way, from what I've heard, the news, the outcome that I think I see, and I'd like you to let me know if you're on the same train, is it sounds like to me that moving forward, like, I don't even know what this even means anymore, but let's just say the next console generation, we will get 2 Forza games. You're not going to get like a Forza Horizon 1, 2, right. I think that annualization is over.
Sure.
I think what we're getting is we'll get a motorsport game made by Playground in this support studio, and then we'll get a Horizon game made by Playground in this support studio. And then maybe Playground takes on a Fable or something in between those. I think we're seeing a lot less Forzas moving forward. I guess is ultimately the takeaway. Am I crazy on that?
I think you're probably right. I mean, again, we just have to follow the numbers here. That's the saddest part, is the story can actually be very plain. Yeah. And you just watch the Horizon is the popular one. That's the one that
sells the most.
Apparently, and just from a total, I'm going to nerd out here a little bit. I always thought that Forza Motorsport was like pardon the pun, but like the engine of it. This was that actually supported Horizon. Like the reason Horizon was so good was because Motorsport was there. It's kind of like maybe the Madden and college football.
Well, they use that engine. They use Forza Tech to make Playground, to make Horizon.
Turn 10 shows up in the credits for 100%. Horizon games.
It's their stuff. It's their Decima.
Right.
They're making Fable off the same tech.
That's kind of crazy, actually, just to say that.
Yep.
So that makes me sad. Like, that actually kind of makes me a little bit maybe worried for Horizon, but I can't get there yet because I'll actually spiral.
Well, the thing that I'm worried about is if I'm wrong, there's a chance that we don't get more motorsports at all.
I know.
That's the scary part. Like, I don't think we're there. Like, I still think they're going to make a motorsport game. I just don't think because they were basically on like a 1.5-2 year rotation, right? They had Horizon Motorsport. I don't think that's happening anymore.
I agree, and it's been a while since we've been doing that. Like we waited quite some time for Motorsport. It always seemed to be the thing that would launch or be
next gen. They're making a new engine. They're like we give them extra time for those sorts of things.
Yeah. So I'm sad about that. And also, I always enjoyed, and Ryan and I would talk about this as well. Ryan Turford, of course, from the Role Playing Game Cave.
Love him.
Him and I would chat about it's nice that you could have a Gran Turismo and a Forza Motorsport kind of going head to head.
Sure.
And it was like this last bastion of that sort of rivalry kind of thing, which I think that's great to be able to do. And it just seemed like this cut for this, I thought they would be untouchable. Turn 10. They've been around for so long.
Thought they would at least have some equity. That's homegrown original talent.
Yep.
That's not we bought them and they're good. That's ours.
Totally.
We made them. Mm-hmm. And I know the last one didn't, set records.
Yep.
But it was good.
Yep.
Generally, it was good. But historically, great developer. They release great games.
Just totally dependable.
Games that carried entire E3 showcases.
Yeah. They used to bring up the car
on
onto
their
the stage.
Backs.
Mm-hmm.
They were a whole attraction.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. That's, again, these brands that I thought they'll be safe here. Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe.
Nobody's safe.
Not when Turn 10 gets totally destroyed like that. What an absolute wreck. I'd love to know, and with anything, it almost goes without saying, but I probably should say it anyways. I would love to learn more. What else is going on? This is my last fanboy kind of thing to say. Surely there's something going on behind the scenes. Maybe there's some rational reason for this. Right now, it just seems senseless. Other than money.
Growth potential.
Yeah. I hate it. And I mean, even I don't know.
Record-setting margins.
Isn't that what we have? Isn't there are more players now more than ever? There's
apparently Xbox
this is why I'm saying it's
never
senseless.
been in a better position ever, according to our fearless leader, which in itself is really hard to stomach. Okay, we all know that's not the case.
Yeah,
but no, according to him, best position they've ever been in. It's then why are you firing everyone?
Yeah, I mean, if it's just because of one game, and I mean, it did take Forza Motorsport quite a while. There was lots of delays. It took them a while, and I guess it didn't sell all that much. And maybe
hard to do that with Game Pass.
You're trying to get people to get Game Pass. What is?
Listen, I'm not gonna. We'll just keep going. Never mind. I'm gonna stomach that one for a minute.
Okay. Well, what's one that really? Take your pick, man. What other announcements happened this week that just
Perfect Dark.
Yeah.
This is not surprising, I don't think. If anybody's following this, we've known Perfect Dark has not been in a great place.
Yeah.
They started the initiative. We got all excited. They're going to make this big Santa Monica studio. And then if you follow the news that closely, like we do on these podcasts every week, you would know that they've lost directors multiple times. The initiative's had turnover. It's not been good. And then they were, but we've got the guy that used to work at Crystal, and now we're contracting Crystal, but Crystal's been sold to a brand new company, and so it's not I'm not surprised that the project got canceled. It's not.
Didn't they have one of the guys from Insomniac? Wasn't one of the directors from Insomniac?
You think you might be right?
I mean, this is look, it's been almost 10 years, so
yeah. So I'm not surprised that it got canceled. I'm surprised in the manner that it was. I think this game was shown, I kept saying 7. I haven't looked up the date. I think it was 7 years ago. And then, was it last year's Xbox showcase? What is this face for? What am I missing?
I feel like I'm reading this incorrectly. It says Boots has gifted 50 Carpool Gaming memberships.
Yeah.
That can't be correct. That's crazy. Lifetime? Sorry for interrupting the podcast, everybody, but let me just suffice to say, thank you, Boots. That's insane. Thank you so much. Holy crap. Okay, sorry, Donnie.
No, you're good. We've known this for at least 5 years. I think 7 years we've known about this game in development. It went away for years, and we were all worried.
Right.
Then
they showed it to us.
Then it comes back, and we see real gameplay, camera moving type stuff, and we get all excited. Was that last year or the year before?
It must have been the year before. It's been a while. I think maybe 2023.
Everyone loved that showcase, and Perfect Dark was a big part of it. And everybody's like, "We're back!"
100%.
And no, we're not. Immediately canceled. And when we were talking earlier this week on Place Video Games, one of the things that kind of dawned on me, Sean, is we have multiple instances of this in this very own console generation. Like we had Scalebound last gen, and we all know how that turned out. We were pretty upset about that. But that was a third-party thing, and it went on a couple of years.
And I just want to say about Scalebound, I feel like there's huge revisionist history on that one. People looked at that and they laughed at the protagonist and his headphones, and I feel like people were not hot on Scalebound. But then they canceled it and everybody whined about it. So I wasn't there.
Bought studios and everything, and we have the same issue going on.
Yep.
With Everwild, Perfect Dark, Contraband. We have no idea. They've been showing us games for years that aren't happening.
I know.
Like Devolver said, it doesn't matter if they're real, just that we announced them.
I don't like it because it was obviously meant to be over satirical, and it's like reality. And
it's multiples of them. It's not like if it was one project, you'd be like, lame, and it's a tough business. It happens, but it's like there's an issue of responsibility here, where it's like it wasn't coming together. We can't keep spending money. It's like, so it took you 7 years to figure that out.
Yeah,
what's been going on? Like in my mind, and I know that this is nostalgic. Yarden corrected me earlier this week because I was going on about it, and he was like, "Dude, nobody cares about Perfect Dark except old nostalgia gamers." That's 100% true. I'm over here acting like Perfect Dark's a household name. It's not.
Yeah, but I
think it is an IP of a certain level of importance. That here's kind of how I would equate it. Metroid was going through development hell during Switch 1.
Yep.
We had this Metroid Prime announcement, and years went by and it didn't happen. When Nintendo came out and they're like, we're moving it, we're rebooting it, we're sorry, but the update was Metroid's still coming. We screwed up. Now we're about to go fix it. This was just Jason Schreier going, it's all gone.
Yeah.
It's like, what happened? No, that to me falls on leadership. Somebody in the room has to go, okay, we're canceling the initiative. So what can we do to soften this blow? What can we do now with Perfect Dark?
No, there's no softening of any of these blows. But these are hard blows.
But let's announce that we've moved. We're starting a new Perfect Dark in development with somebody else. We're letting id. They're going to make the next Perfect Dark. We're going to have one of these boomer shooter companies make a Perfect Dark game. We're going to remaster something, like do something. Do something to make that shit sandwich a little easier to swallow. Nope. And they were like, no, it's just all gone.
Yeah.
The demo you saw is gone. Everybody at work there's gone. A contract's gone. It's all gone. And it's like, it's so much resources just obliterated.
Mm-hmm.
You know, just Dannohh snapped.
That's kind of what it feels like. And I mean, yeah, it's a tricky one. This idea of like kind of revitalizing old IP. I don't know if it necessarily always has to be like for the core group of fans who played Perfect Dark back in the day and we're trying to like get them back. I think it's more just about like, is there a good idea that we own that we could sort of evolve with new tech and new consoles that we have right now? And Perfect Dark seemed to like fit the bill there pretty well. Dude. Like a good, like it's unique. It's got a cool kind of like
if you saw this happening, go to Night Dive. Be like, what can we do with Perfect Dark? We own this thing. We own these games. What can you do with this?
Right.
Because we need something, and they, that to me is that's a leadership problem.
It's interesting. I mean, coming up with a brand new studio from scratch. I don't know that they
were so excited.
We don't really see it all that often.
A studio.
Oh man,
it'll be the best studio. It was the crown jewel in the gauntlet. Right? I mean, it was going to get all the Naughty Dog people, all the
because its location, Santa Monica,
all the big studio people. This was going to be it, and it's like it felt like they couldn't even hire enough to develop an internal game.
It kind of reads a lot like Stadia now that it's done.
It does. 100%.
Right? Just like tech company invests a whole bunch of money into a thing. Surely the money will take care of it all. And it's like, it obviously doesn't. I'm with you, man. And I think that was it. I would love to see Xbox do it maybe one time, take one of these IP that it owns and bring it to the year 2025, 2026. Like, I think Doom is probably the last time that this really happened, you know?
Yeah, because we've had a lot of those, right? We had Zelda did it. We had God of War did it.
God of War,
Doom,
for sure.
Yeah, they've all combined.
Tomb Raider.
It's the same but new. It's modernized.
Yep.
Yeah, and you would think Banjo, Crash.
Oh, dude. Now this is how ruined I am. And maybe
Ratchet
next
and
week
Clank?
I get better.
Ratchet
Don't touch anything. I'm at the point where I'm like, no, don't. Just don't touch it. Don't ruin it. Yeah. Don't announce anything. No more shows. I don't want to see you at Gamescom. Like, you don't follow hockey, but the commissioner of the NHL for a long time, he'd walk out onto it's probably a lot like NFL too. Roger Goodell, I think, would get this too, right? You get booed. You walk out on stage and the fans are like, is Phil Spencer going to get booed?
He should.
The next time he walks up out on stage?
He should.
I don't even know if he'll get out on stage.
Here is the problem with that. This is kind of what I was choking on earlier. I don't want to absolve any of their leadership from any responsibility.
Yeah.
Him, Booty, Sarah, anybody.
Yeah.
The Stein that runs the social media, like all of them. Anybody that has anyone that has media, like recognizable, like it is the company. You all deserve it. That said, the moves and the context at which we know have the moves, it does feel like it's not in their control. This doesn't feel like a Phil Spencer woke up and decided to close everyone.
Right. This was a Microsoft mandate.
It's a money thing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to absolve them from that, but we have record now. We have it on record. Phil Spencer was at Rare.
Yep.
Playing Everwild. He was at ZeniMax.
Dude, the ZeniMax one. The ZeniMax one is killer.
Reportedly, he loved their game.
Yep.
And then within 6 months is canceled. That doesn't sound like how that would go. What it does sound like is a mandate came down to shrink personnel this much.
Yep.
And then they were tasked with doing that. And that doesn't absolve them from that at all. They still own it. It's still theirs.
Yeah.
But it just goes to show you that with the decisions that are being made about not just what happened to these games, but think about what this means for what games get greenlighted moving forward. So if you're all coming to do your predictions episodes for next year's Summer Games Fest, keep that in your mind. They're not just greenlighting, because I think you're with me here. Before Activision, when Xbox got Compulsion and Ninja Theory, and right before Bethesda, maybe even include Bethesda, but before that, they'd seemingly realized we have to create original content, and we've missed out on several of these really good options. And with Game Pass, there became this narrative with Xbox, this identity that they started to cultivate. We want to employ developers to make the games that they want to make, right? Games that may not have mass appeal, games that may not be, the next great multiplayer hotness, but we want to empower those developers to chase those dreams.
Yeah. And
we got a couple of those. And that really started to be an identity that I feel has all but been obliterated. Like, you cannot say that now. It used to be like, we want them to create whatever, like, we want to empower their creative vision. And I feel like maybe moving forward, they're going to have a real heavy hand in what is getting made and versus what's not.
It is tricky because they've had to be loud about sort of making promises that the future of Xbox is good. It's promising. It's optimistic. So they've almost had to over communicate. Right. And so that they're going to put themselves in this kind of position where when they're canceling games, some of them we've learned after the fact, unannounced games did exist, and whether they announced them formally or not, like, we're sort of finding out about those. I have to think about, Sony over in PlayStation land they're in the opposite, but still kind of a similar boat in that they haven't really told us a whole lot of anything. They told us fair games and we don't know. Yeah. But they're on a whole different trajectory over there. So I don't know.
Are you more worried today about projects like a Pentiment or a Psychonauts, studios like a Double Fine or Compulsion?
I think I have to say that I have to be, but then at the exact same time, we're going to get Grounded later this month, Grounded 2 beta. And I think that's like such a great classic example of a passion project put together by like the side team.
Yeah,
that's kind of neat.
Good one. It's fair.
There are things and arguably maybe more than PlayStation. I don't know. That would be really interesting kind of like
if Turn 10 missed and lost half their studio,
dude,
I lose so much faith in any other studio that's not Doom, Fallout, Call of Duty. Like, if you're not there, like if Forza Motorsport didn't meet the bar, how could Hellblade ever?
Totally.
That's the concern. Like, I've had this concern post Activision. I've been talking about it for like a year. I'm like, and it's not honestly, the blame to this point wasn't even on Xbox. I just have been, when they bought Activision, it finally got through. I just kept pointing to everyone to how Activision was running before they got bought.
Yeah,
not
this
like
is a good point.
Not like during COVID, everyone hates Activision. I'm talking about like 2018 Activision.
Mm-hmm.
They've been kind of chucking people into the Call of Duty furnace for some time now.
Yep.
And I get it. It's not wrong. Call of Duty's huge. So the point I was making, if a mandate comes down, if Microsoft is, pushing margins, if a mandate comes down, you have to cut 10%. Where do you think that 10% is coming from?
Right.
Like, that's the concern. So I worry about those sort of projects. And back then, when this console's launched, I loved that identity. I was so on board. Like, Game Pass was like a crowdsourcing model of making sure that these things can happen.
Yeah, just a solid source of funding.
Because of the Gears, the Halo, and the Forza, we can offset that by these little passion projects. We can get a Pentiment and a Grounded and a Sea of Thieves, and they can all coexist because Game Pass is subsidizing it all.
Hi-Fi
and
Rush.
We have a $1 trillion company that can back it. So who cares if they only turn a 4% profit? It's a 4% profit. They've got all the money in the world.
Yeah.
And that idea, that vision, that dream that I had for them, squandered. Completely squandered.
Now, they have come out and said, or I don't know where it was, I have to cite this a little bit better, that everything that we saw at the showcase last month is still on. And so I think that's kind of interesting on a couple of fronts, that like maybe they knew at that point what to put in that so that, they could do these layoffs, they could do these cancellations. I don't know. That's because some tinfoil hat.
Ask you something.
Yeah.
Why would anybody put any faith into that report?
That's a good point. I don't know. That's a good point.
I hate
but
to
at
say
least
it.
The point
I understand the optimist, let's
as of today, nothing is impacted.
I have empirical evidence that they've done nothing but lie to us for like 6 years.
I mean, look, that's just I'm trying to what can I look forward to?
Yeah.
And it is there, but
we had somebody
to your
ask
point,
us if Fable was going to be okay, and I'm like, I think so.
Oh, I know. Wouldn't that be crazy?
But can anyone know?
I know.
My only faith in them is Playground.
Yeah.
I think Playground is the best studio Xbox has.
Yeah.
So I just have all the faith in them to get it done. Like, they're going to get it done. And it's going to be good.
Yeah.
But yeah, can you say that about anything, any project? Like, guess what wasn't in that showcase? Blade.
Yeah.
Where's that?
Yep. Contraband.
Do we think that's happening?
I mean, that one is really interesting, both because of what happened this week, but then also just my general sense of like superhero fatigue is very high right now. So it's like, do you need it? Like, do you need that in the same way you needed something? I
think you need it, man.
Do you need Blade?
Does. Well, you know what? No, Xbox doesn't, because they're no longer a platform provider. They're not trying to push a market space. So no, do they need it? No, they don't. But when you look at the reception of Toucan Fighters and PlayStation Showcase, like, if you are pushing a platform, do you need your superhero game? Yeah, you do.
Can I ask you a sort of a paradigm shift kind of a question here? What kind of a different week do we have this week if Halo Infinite launched alongside the Series X was great,
and Starfield followed up as a banger?
Right. Like, this is like now we're into free fall.
We
like,
are.
I think that's
no.
Right?
That butterfly effect is perfect, because if it is, you'd think they start off the generation with more momentum.
100%.
And that helps them push into these things the things that we wanted. Yeah. When they said we were buying Bethesda to provide you exclusives.
Yeah.
When they talked about Game Pass and all of that, like the direction the majority of people likely bought an Xbox for. Yeah. Back then, that would have changed all of that. But all of what's happened that I've been upset that they're doing is happened because of their positioning.
Yeah.
We saw in the trial, people, I don't think we're talked about this enough generally. In the trial, we learned that Call of Duty was threatening to skip the platform if they didn't get a better share.
Yeah.
That means that Singular Games thought they were had more negotiating power than the platform providers.
I think Starfield as well. I think Starfield was going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
We saw Bethesda game several go exclusive.
Yeah.
Right. And they were in such a weak position that they couldn't, without spending their way out of it, which is what I wanted them to do. Mm-hmm. Without spending their way out of it, I don't want to say they didn't have a choice, but they're up against it with Microsoft execs holding them accountable. They're up against it. They don't have enough negotiating room.
I hate it, man. I want, and what else is there? Like, what else can take its place? Like, there's no going back at this stage, is kind of the sad thing. Like, there's not like a going back to 2000. Let's have The Rock and Bill Gates announce the next Xbox. Like, there's no other player out there to kind of swoop in.
No, we would need a GTA level exclusive roll up your sleeve type moment.
You need Halo. You need
another. You need like that Xbox. They came to play. Like money, like Bomber was in it.
Yeah.
This one is like, we want to be successful.
Yeah.
We're not just going to burn money like we used to, which I think we as customers, we liked it when they did that. We all benefited when they did that. And it is a shame because they have had there's still a lot of good there. Like I generally thought the hardware itself, just in a vacuum, was well made. I really loved Hellblade, Grounded. I think they've had some successes. But we've talked about it for too long, but I've been asking you for a couple years now. At the start of the next generation, whatever it is, like, what is the reason to choose this one?
Yeah.
I've run out of reasons. Like, I don't see one.
Yeah. For me, it's more just habit at this point, but that's not going to carry a lot of people over.
No, it's not. No, it's not. And we also found out about Romero. John Romero had a game in the works with Xbox, and his entire project was cut. And it looks like he's going to have to lay off his studio.
That
was
sucks.
The only thing they were working on. I think that's interesting because Romero hasn't, like, his own solo games haven't been great. So I'm not saying that game would have done anything.
I'm 100% with you.
I don't know if it would have.
Yeah.
But it makes me wonder and slightly concerned. You would have to think that contract was a contract for Game Pass. Right. And are they cutting the funding into Game Pass? Sounds like it.
Yeah. I think we've heard that from a few developers. Yeah.
If they're cutting the funding for Game Pass, that seemed to be like kind of the last bastion that folks would like, I still get Game Pass. It's like, yeah, but it may be more expensive soon and not nearly as good as it has been. Mm-hmm. I don't know that to be true, but based off of several dots that I think you can loosely connect, it looks like that's at least on the table.
Yeah. I mean, the Game Pass conversation is an interesting one too, because we do have, like, we're still getting games, and I would argue still very notable games. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4 is coming out in just a couple of weeks here.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big deal. And I like the selection we're getting on Game Pass. I think that, like, I still think Game Pass is very, very good.
I agree.
But it's changing. And I think that's the part that kind of makes us feel a little uncertain, obviously. Like, what else are we going to get there? When is the first year that Call of Duty isn't going to come into Game Pass?
Or if they put it in its own tier.
They can't get more complicated. I
think it is. I think this whole PC console unification that is obviously happening.
Yeah.
It's going to have to. They can't keep doing like, what is PC Game Pass in that future?
Yeah.
There is no PC console Game Pass. It's just Game Pass.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So, like, at the very least, they have to combine, I would imagine. But I see a future where I think we're going to have a cloud tier, an ad tier, like a vault tier, and then I think there might be a day one tier.
Yeah. I mean, just make good video games. You said it yourself. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much focus on services. It's always been something that people would highlight for Xbox that they like, the services. And it's like, well, we haven't really talked about games in a little while.
I like the space they're transitioning to. I think it's a good space for Xbox to be in, a world's greatest third-party publisher. It's at odds with itself by still trying to commit to how platform holders did it. Like, it's just too many hands in different cookie jars. They're like, no, we're still providing platforms. Like, but you're not. You're providing PCs. It's not a platform. It's not going to be subsidized by you to extend that platform. It's not going to be all the things that we take into account, not from a user side on a console, but from a model.
Yeah.
A model of consoles cannot be the same in a PC space. Right?
Well, it's about Windows. It's all about Windows now, which, I mean, that makes sense. That's why we have Microsoft.
Sense. Is it exciting? Does anybody like? Do you personally feel invested in the propagation of Windows?
Of course not. And right. I would say it only makes sense because of just that's what launched Microsoft. That's why we have a Microsoft is because of Windows.
Yeah.
Other than that, I don't know that I get it all that much.
So
like, is Windows
makes sense?
Like, are they worried that there's another OS that's going to take over?
I don't
like,
know, take over, but eat into. Yeah.
Is that like that's? I'm like, I need to understand the panic. You know, like it's not on a console level. That it seems like it's on a. They're trying to add value to Windows.
They are, and I think that point may be slightly overblown by our games media because Windows is not under duress from Linux.
That's what I'm trying to like. What
that's
are they?
Not a thing. But does it prove to be an alternative at some point? Yes. Are they doing all of this to do that? No. I've never thought that. I would love to know. I mean, I know what you think because we have another podcast, but maybe your listeners, you can find me, Eat the Hype Blue Sky, hit me in the Discord. I'm in the Carpool Discord. I would love to know what you all think because ever since this happened, it's just 4 games we're doing. I've been calling for this third-party thing. And the way that I see it isn't a panic to attack Linux. I see it as a transition to leave the traditional console market. And when I say the console market, I mean the model of what a console is.
Of course.
We have a set spec. Everyone buys the same thing so we can undercut it to make money off of. Yeah. It makes us feel special. Console players are engineered around. They provide updates. They make it good for you. Have you ever felt anything like that when you've clicked the Xbox app on a PC?
No.
It's not the same, right? It's a different model. So that comes with flexibility. Maybe there'll be a $2,000 Xbox. That'd be cool. Like there's all kinds of different options and futures that where they're heading could provide, but that whole console market, that ain't it. So I've always seen this bridging of this gap. It's all they're doing is stepping out. They're going to PC where they can still claim it's just like your Xbox. It's got your games. You hit the app, right? That's what they're going to do. They're going to act like it's the same, but it's not. It's not the same. It won't feel the same.
Yeah.
But that's how I've seen this. I don't see it as a reaction to Linux. I see this as they're leaving the console market. Like moving forward, the console market, the dedicated, this SKU for everyone that push that model, that'll be Nintendo and PlayStation, unless someone else enters.
That's what I was saying before. Like, who else is it going to be? It's not going to be Luna or Stadia. You know, any of these.
I couldn't.
You know, who could possibly at this stage? Yeah, I don't know.
I think if anybody did, I think it'd still be some sort of PC thing. Valve, I could see a Steam box, but it's going to be a PC. Yep. And that's the same for them as it is Microsoft. Yeah. The Steam box is also not a console. Yeah. It's not going to be marketed like a console. Yeah. Right. Not if they're going to open it up to everyone else to make one.
Do you think this just allows for PlayStation just to solidify, and Nintendo maybe for that matter as well, just like stay in their lane? Like Xbox is getting the hell out of the way, so
they
just
have a
keep
dedicated
doing it.
Pitch. Well, I'm sure we can talk about it. I mean, Helldivers is showing up.
Yep.
That doesn't feel like something somebody was really worried about competition would do.
Yeah.
You know, so I do have to wonder now, like, does Sony just be like, yeah, they're doing their own, they're not the direct competition anymore.
I'm going to bring I Can't See in from the Discord. He sent in a question and said, with the news of Helldivers 2 coming to Xbox, do you think PlayStation does more multi-platform? Do you think Xbox was ahead of the curve with their decision to go multi-platform, Donnie? What do you think? Like, we're going to see more of this? Think? Were they going to be proven right, so to speak? I want to
reference, I've been hearing a lot of that from Xbox fans, so I'd like to hear what you think first.
I actually don't know. I feel like PlayStation, whenever they do what Xbox has done, they've been very mindful and careful about it, not to copy it entirely. So what I mean by that is, like, remember when Game Pass was like really hot, and like that week that they got MLB the show, and everybody's like, oh, that's it, like Game Pass is here, and it's the new way of doing things. It seemed like it was really going to take over, and there was so much pressure, it seemed like, from fans for PlayStation to do the Game Pass thing. Day and date, first party games, like, copy it entirely. And they didn't. They really restrained. They waited that out. There was so much pressure for a hot minute, and they didn't. And there's a few other examples where, you know, Xbox launches into something, and then PlayStation does it maybe just a little bit better. They wait. Maybe trophies. You could argue trophies is maybe an example of that. Achievements came first, of course.
Improve on the concept.
I would probably, if I'm going to, like, if that analogy makes sense, I would say to expect more of that, for them to be mindful and selective for the games that they may want to publish on Xbox. I wouldn't expect like a blanket, everything is going. I'm not expecting what's his name, Herman Hulst, to go, there are no red circles on games. Like, was that what Phil said?
Yeah, that's good.
I don't think that. I don't think that. I think it's multiplayer. Helldivers 2 makes a lot of sense for it to be like this.
It does.
But I'm not expecting God of War, you know.
There was all that, buzz when Helldivers launched to enlist the Xbox fan. Like, we need help. The bugs are taking over. Like, we need reinforcements. That is really cool. Helldivers is a really good pick for this. I've seen people starting to see Xbox is right. This is the future. This is how it's always going to be. I push back on that hard because what I see is Xbox has already started the turn, actually announced hardware that shows that they're just PC. PlayStation already supports the PC.
Right.
Like, if Xbox is doing exactly what they've conveyed they're doing, why wouldn't you do it? It's going to be there anyway.
Yeah.
So you might as well. And
this wasn't developed by a first-party studio. This was a second-party arrangement.
True. Also, this is coming off the heels. This one announcement's coming off the heels where Indiana Jones, Grounded, Gears of War, everything is like... So Xbox has already basically proven to PlayStation, we're not fighting you for market share. Like, so at this point, there's nothing to lose for PlayStation to do.
Yeah, they've made it very safe. Like, they could... And
it's not even a day one game.
It's
it's an old game. They've already sold. There's nothing to lose here besides a couple angry tweets. That's all they're suffering for this.
I don't know. Because who knows how many copies of these games they could really sell, considering how few units there are to sell them on. So is it worth, I guess the big question is it worth the short-term gain of money that you gain from selling the games versus the longer-term sort of like brand dilution that Xbox has certainly felt over the last couple of years.
Yeah.
Big time. That's what I thought Phil was like measuring when they said we got 4 games, we're going to learn stuff. And everybody's like, you're going to learn that they sell games. Well, no doubt. I was really hoping that they were also going to watch like customer perception or like the brand power.
They said it hasn't changed their Xbox. Like, remember, they were like, it hasn't hurt us at all. It's like everybody's screaming. No, it is. You just
no kidding.
You haven't tested the theory yet. You haven't launched something else in direct competition.
Yeah, that's wild to me, man. I mean, so it's no surprise that we're at where we're at.
To me, yeah. I mean, if Xbox like
such a bummer.
we're a few months away from The Last of Us being on a quote unquote Xbox.
Yeah,
like that's gonna happen. September's gonna happen. The Ally's gonna launch, and every video on day one is gonna be Xbox Allies playing PlayStation games because they think that's like some great dunk. Like, ha, it cost me $900 to do this thing. No, I just don't think Xbox, it's over. Like, it's over. It's been over, but like if you didn't accept, it's over. To the point where PlayStation doesn't even care anymore.
They've already announced they're going to be at Gamescom. That's just next month already. Like, what does that showcase even look like? What could they possibly have for us?
They're gonna have. I thought I saw that. I think they have that Ally hands-on, right? I think they have the device there.
Oh, this is the thing. Like these handhelds just don't do it for me. Like this is where I get a little bit of a downer. It's like if this is the future, the handhelds, I think Nintendo's already done it better.
Gears, got Gears right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
like classic,
I think we all feel that. Like that's the crazy thing is if you've been around Xbox, like that's the correct reaction because it's like. I've played that game so many, like you've already remastered. It's a remaster.
Reload. Oh, that specifically. No, that's so funny. I even like mentally skipped over Reloaded already. Yeah. Like I'm thinking about E-Day. Like I'm thinking like, yes, maybe there's some hope there. But like I just played Ultimate Edition earlier this year.
I played it, I think last year.
And it's great. Like don't get me wrong.
Yeah, lovely.
It's too bad. This is where maybe I'll turn the finger over to gamers as well. Xbox has had free remasters that are top tier. They're excellent.
Yep.
360 games running on X hardware, even the One X we had this
Red
back
Dead
then.
Redemption remastered 4 years early.
Spectacular. Yeah. And nobody cares. We would rather respond to like a new shiny thing than like sort of like a blog post that there's patches for really cool older games. We'd rather buy them over again. It's so, I mean, gamers are fickle. We're fickle anyway.
So yeah, I just think that's the position that Xbox is in. I don't think PlayStation sees it as any sort of threat.
Gizmodo 16 in the Discord asks, this is hang in here, Donnie. Gizmodo says, you don't have to answer this if it's too serious. We're going to answer it because this is a serious episode.
Serious face.
Gizmodo says, is there any way to support the individuals of Microsoft doing great things, but still let the company feel our displeasure at how they treat employees and deal with other social issues? I've seen calls for boycotting them, but then there's games like South of Midnight that do really cool things and should be celebrated and supported. I don't know if there's an answer, but at the end of the year, I'll have to decide whether to renew my Game Pass subscription, and I don't know what I'll decide. I think a lot of people are thinking the exact same thing.
They also rate, this is somewhat tangentially unrelated. Did you see they raised the price of Office?
Really?
They did. It's $100. It's $100 a year right now if you subscribe to 365.
Oh my goodness gracious! Does it come with free Game Pass?
I canceled mine. I was like, I'm not subscribing to this. This is crazy.
No, and you're the guy with like codes just like stacked for Game Pass.
They're gone. I sold them all.
Did you really?
The backlog that I had, I sold to raise Switch 2 funds.
Oh wow!
No, actually, that's not true. I sold them to raise ROG Ally X funds.
That's pretty good. That's a pretty good deal.
I have Game Pass until next year, and then it's over, and then I'm over.
Then you're done.
Yeah.
So you're pretty cut and dry here.
I haven't really been even using it.
Yeah.
The other day, I tried South of Midnight just to say that I was like, okay, I've played it. Like I think it's the last time I've touched it. And some Doom.
Yeah.
And then Doom would probably be the first time since last year.
You're all in on Switch. Like this is also doubling down. Like the Switch 2 has landed, and
I've literally gotten rid of everything else. I don't have anything else.
Yeah, you don't have
it's
PlayStation
just it now. Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think about this idea of like, you want to maybe support the people who are doing great work, but also how do you support the machine, the Microsoft machine?
You do that by just targeting those opinions. Make sure you can still just don't personally attack the employee. You can still transmit to the employee. Just make sure that it's focused, that you don't like the direction, the company, the strategy. Keep it high level. Or listen, actually, I'm gonna counter. I'm gonna zag. If you're calling for Phil Spencer's job, I get it.
Yeah.
If this was a business, I mean, it is. And this is like you were judging. This is not success. This is not good. And I hate saying that because I like Phil Spencer still.
Yeah.
Still do. I think he's great. And he's a longtime employee. I think all of this stuff aside, I think he's earned it. Like I think we all if you've been following this from time, we all know who Phil Spencer is.
Yeah.
Before this came in, he didn't come in going, I'm going to spend $100 billion and fire everybody. That's not Phil Spencer. It
feels like he made a deal with the devil though.
It does.
Not that I'm calling Satya the devil. I'm sure he's not satanic at all.
Yeah, go watch some old E3s when Phil would just sit on stage. We know who Phil Spencer is.
Very passionate, like you want 100%. Gamers that like, but I guess what I'm getting at here is like Xbox was on the chopping block, and it's like, what are we even in the gaming universe for? What are we in this business for? And it's like, trust me, Phil Spencer's going like, trust me, we can make something of this. And so he got a little bit of trust, he got some money to do some things, but it's like, at what cost? Right? To stay in. And I think that's what all of this is. And it's a matter of like Sophie's choice. Do you take this where we have Xbox, but it's this Xbox, or do you just kill it off when paw. What are you saying?
Monkey paw.
Yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, Sean. That's profound.
I think that's the paradigm shift. I think that's
what we had it just go.
Yep. Because I think that's really where we were at.
I agree. No, I agree. I do think I think Microsoft wants to be in the games business.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the Xbox business.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're all losing. I mean, bring Apple into the mix as well. Everybody's losing sight on what used to drive all this stuff.
Great.
Funny. Yeah.
What I was going to say about that, if this was a business, I was actually going to say, if this was like a sports team, right? If you were the owner of a sports team and Phil Spencer was your coach, you'd fire the coach. Like you'd absolutely be like, I got to get a new coach.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I like you, but we got to change.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of what this feels like for sure.
Yeah. Maybe the assistant coaches too.
Yeah. No, the whole staff, like the whole staff. Yeah. I don't hear from anybody that's been here for a while. Like literally, they need a new face. Just not Phil Harrison, but a new face.
Yeah. No, please no. I wonder, it's one of those things, I think the sports analogy is maybe a good one as well, where if not them, then who do you bring in? Right? Yeah. Like who's getting, is it a succession planning thing? Like who's getting mentored under these people? And do you really want them?
No.
Do you bring somebody else in from like, it's not like there's this a whole bunch of other companies that people could come in. I don't know what the right answer is there.
It's Sarah Bond. Yeah, that's going to keep happening.
Yeah.
We know what that is.
Oh, man, that's too bad. That's too bad. I was going to bring in another question here. It has absolutely nothing that what we're talking about here. Anything else from this week, Donnie, that you want to highlight as being either particularly bad, or is there any hope at all? Like, I got to tell you, as we're on episode 393 of the Xbox Drive here. I gotta wonder, like what is an Xbox? I've named this week's episode "Everything is an Xbox," and Xbox is canceling everything. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you.
So, yes, there is a future for Xbox. It's just how do you judge that success? If you're still clinging to this, they're going to make a box or 6 boxes, and it's still going to be treated like a console platform, and they're going to push it, and we're going to have exclusives again, and we're going to prove to the world that exclusives don't matter and PlayStation put their stuff on. If that's what you think is happening, that's not happening. But I do think Xbox is well built to make this soft transition to adopting PC fixes a lot of Xbox's problems. A lot of ports that they're missing or late you never have to worry about Final Fantasy just skipping your whole damn console generation because you haven't sold enough to make it worth it, right? By adopting PC and opening up access to Steam, you just nipped that in the bud. Now you don't have to worry about that anymore. And also, I think by adopting PC as their platform, they get to step out of like the investment of a console platform. Suddenly, they could sell hardware at cost or for profit. They're not going to be trying to subsidize it to get out there or worry about whatever cost the PlayStation 5. They might be worried about that. Because they'll have all these different Xboxes across different price range, right? I think that's a good spot for Xbox to be, because once they get that on your PC, then it's, I think, knock on wood, somewhat infinitely back compatible from there. Then they can just focus on games and just start cranking out games. Now, they've gotten rid of some studios, and I hate that, but they still have a ton of studios, and it's not just Call of Duty. Right, like we're still Elder Scrolls and Fallout and everything that Bethesda does and more Activision game. Like there's still a lot for them.
You can't say Xbox is only Gears, Halo, and Forza.
Correct. And I think that's where Forza's they want to be, and that future I don't think is bad for us, for customers.
Yeah,
I do think it's not.
You're right.
It's not as special. It doesn't feel as fun to me because it's not going to feel the same.
Because we want new tech. We like cool tech.
But I think there's a communal aspect, and we all have an Xbox. So all of our experiences are the same. If they're going to do this PC thing, I don't think that's going to be the case, because Xbox is going to have an Xbox, but then I think Lenovo is going to have an Xbox. I think Dell's going to, right? Yep. There's going to be lots of Panasonic. Right. So it's more PC-like. So that's what I'm saying.
This
so
article
some of that will go away.
PureXbox.com says Xbox next-gen console plans not impacted by Microsoft layoffs. So, like,
their hardware team didn't get touched.
Hardware team didn't get touched at all. So, like, it kind of, I mean, in a weird kind of way, it actually makes your point even stronger in that there is still a future on Xbox. And it's odd because I just slammed them earlier in the episode about, like, over-communicating. Like, it'd be a pretty good time, maybe Gamescom. Maybe this is what I want. Like, what is next-gen?
Yeah,
what is this? If they're ready to talk about it.
I think turning the page as soon as possible would behoove them. I just don't know if they're there yet. I thought it was weird that they announced a console. That announcement that they just made at AMD, that partnership, that was a weird announcement.
Very
Came
weird.
After Showcase, didn't say anything, didn't say a year, didn't say a box, didn't say anything.
Yeah.
That was just a weird thing. Yeah. But there is,
because we're supposed to remember that when we have these conversations.
There is a future. Riley says, who's going to buy it? Here's my take, is what I've been telling. We have a couple Xbox holdouts left over in our land. And I've been telling them, I'm not interested in this pitch right now because I have a PC. I have the Xbox, a really good one. Mm-hmm. I don't think their next console is going to be better than my PC. I don't think that's going to be the case, right? But maybe the next one, right? And I think you and I have talked about this. You upgrade your PC, maybe you get a console. I think the next time I go to think about buying a PC, maybe at that point I will consider whatever this Xbox PC devices are. But the idea of them driving like a $75 million user base with this whole, I don't think that's just done.
Yeah, remember how many gamers are there? 2 billion gamers that they're gonna reach out to.
Because I mean, this generation sad, but this has been a colossal failure, even compared to last generation. They quote unquote lost the war, right? But they still sold, I think, like 50 million of these things.
Yeah,
they had a big base.
Yeah,
it seems like this generation is like half that or less. So like this whole generation has just been a flop. So I think that whole transition to a PC-like device puts them in a space where they can make a lot or a little. They don't have to turn a profit on hardware. They can sell it at cost or sell it for more. I think like they can literally sit in a space where they sell 10 million devices and are totally happy with that. Mm-hmm. Because they just keep pushing PC, right?
I hope so. Like, it's funny, as you're describing all of this, I'm taking a flashback to the Wii U days. Nintendo's going third party. I can't believe the Wii U is such a colossal failure. It's so bad. And they were sort of like put into a corner that they had to come out with something revolutionary with the Switch. And I mean, those are crazy odds. And also one of them is Nintendo, but it's not always the case where what is happening now is going to dictate the future, because Nintendo totally, they went up against those odds, man. Nobody thought Nintendo was coming back the way they did.
My fear for you, I like this pitch, but this is the only thought that I had. Unfortunately, Sean, I think that's already happened. I think the Xbox One was its Wii U.
Was the Wii U.
And I think Game Pass was its attempt at a Switch.
Yeah, maybe.
And I
don't even know if I'm buying what I'm selling here. I'm just trying to maybe have something to bounce off.
It's like a step out. Like they're stepping back out of the console race, but they're still going to have something for you to buy.
Yeah.
Right?
Like good games would be a good start.
Now, making some good games would be like, it would go a long way. Like,
that
would really help out.
That would be pretty good.
That would be great.
And this is what happens. I want to be like, I'm being very subjective now. And every once in a while, I'd love for like a table or something to show up for me here to go, okay, maybe it isn't all that bad. Well, we do have Tony Hawk coming right away. Yep. Grounded is coming. Like we still have stuff that's happening. Yes.
We talked about it on Sweet Hangs. I think it's an apt point to make. When they get to this hybrid device line of devices thing that they're going to pitch, it should be a very like price per pound option to enter the PC market. I think that's a great space for Microsoft to be like, that's exactly where they should be. So, and then PC gaming is hot right now. Like we see the numbers, they're all going up. So a lot of people are adopting that thing. So I think the pitch is pretty sound. I think they'll find some success.
Yeah.
I just don't think it'll be like 100. There are people. I think this is an apt point too. I think there are people that believe in that vision that think that's the future of gaming. They think everyone's going to end up doing that. And I don't think that's going to happen at all.
Yeah. It's hard to persuade people to go do the thing that you're wanting them to do when it's so unclear.
Yeah. And they're not coming off a string of hits. There's lots of options. It's messy. Like, I just don't think it doesn't have a big appeal. It doesn't have a wide reach. It's not the Wii. Yeah. It's the opposite of the Wii. It's niche. And I like niche.
So do I.
Like they could come out with like a $900 Xbox. That rules. Like they could come out with something, really sweet. And I don't think it's a bad position for Xbox to be in, to be trying to cater and sell more enthusiastic hardware and not worry about wide adoption. Like, because when you're making a console, price is very important. You're trying to, let's make sure everyone can get in.
Yeah.
If you let go of that freedom and flexibility, they could get really cool with it. Like all of a sudden you're not beholden, like they'll have a cheap option, but you're not beholden to that option for 6 years.
It's not like the Surface laptops were cheap.
Yeah. So they could make really good stuff. We could be, Sean, fast forward a year from now, 2 years from now, we could be talking about people with hands-on with this Xbox, and it's awesome. Like you can install Steam and emulators, but it's $1,000 and it's half the cost for twice the power compared to the next NVIDIA card or whatnot. Like, that's in the cards. That's on the table, I think, for the road ahead. That's fun. It's fun. I just don't think it's $2,800 million Xbox's pitch. I think those days are over.
Yeah. It's such a bummer, man. I really hope next week is better. It sucks. This sucks. This was tough, man.
It's a lot of people. I saw somebody say the ratios were, they think it's about 3,000 to 4,000 Microsoft gaming employees.
Oh, wow.
Across gaming, sales, production, and then studios.
And I think it was like 9,000.
Out of the 9,000 or so, it looks like they were carrying about a third in the gaming division.
Oof.
Like, that's tough.
Yeah.
It's a lot of manpower walking out the door.
And it's not, I would have expected, redundancy. We have enough accountants around, from all these different companies coming together. Nothing against accountants. Shout out to accountants.
Yeah.
But like that kind of thing. When you just bring all these companies, all this is just overhead. You know what I mean?
John, we missed a very important part of this. This is seemingly all being done in the name of AI.
Oh, man. Yeah.
That's an important thing in this, too. Like, a lot of the cost savings that they're trying to recoup is offsetting the amount of money they're dumping into AI development.
Well, that maybe is what is exactly shooting the stock price up, as a few people have reported. The stock price for Microsoft has not responded negatively to this news.
They also apparently pushed the developers to try to automate and use Copilot to fill in the gaps. Also not great.
Like, I thought I saw this might be totally made up. I thought I saw somebody had instructed those who were laid off to like consult ChatGPT to get them through it.
Resume and stuff. They'll lead into it. You have somebody to talk to. Our chatbot.
We have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360.
It's not. Dude, it's just not a fun week to be like, I love this company.
Sucks.
And let me ask you this. I want to ask you a question.
I have a question for you too after.
I am well documented, so I can eat this. Well documented. 10 years of history. I get somewhat emotionally attached to these things. Mm-hmm. Like, I want to like the thing I'm shoveling money into. I have that. Like, I want to like who's making it.
Yeah.
It matters to me. When I don't like what they're doing, I'll get rid of it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what Gizmodo's question was.
I'm not trying to teach them. I'm not like, I'll show them. It's an inner. It's like a self thing. It makes me feel better.
Yeah.
I was wanting to ask you, do you feel the same way? Because I think that's a very easy approach to be like, I don't care. Like, is there something like, I don't care how they run their company as long as games keep showing up. You're like, I don't care about any of that. I just buy a product and consume the video games.
I think I've been doing that most of this generation. And I think it's sort of like the elastic band is snapping back a little bit this week.
Gotcha.
Because I think there's been not quite exactly this, but there's been a lot of these kinds of decisions that, people haven't been a fan of. And I sort of have just kind of kept my head down going, if we just talk about the games.
Just focus on the games.
Then we'll be having a good time. We've been having a blast on the show.
The product. I don't need to see how the sausage is made. Just give me the sausage.
Right. And maybe that's kind of what they're counting on, is that they're like us talking heads are such a small slice of who's buying and playing games. But I don't know. I feel like it's still an important part. They're like, it's the influencer sort of like mentality. There's people will listen, and then it's sort of like it goes out from there. I don't know that we're quiet enough for us to not be a factor. Podcasters, and I mean, like, not just influencers, but people who are in the gaming space who understand all this.
Well, I think it comes
because we all talk
that emotional attachment that I don't know if we like. I want to say we develop, but I don't know if that's true. I don't know if everyone feels that way. But I think in the enthusiast space, you'd have to think there's more of us. Like, you get invested into it. That's the whole point of the memes and the culture and the.
Well, we're the first ones to buy it. We're the early adopters.
We're the day one. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like this weighs heavier, I think, because of that.
And I think as everything just gets more expensive, including the consoles, as they somehow age, they get more expensive. You're just like highlighting the fact that people have choices. They don't have to go far to go to PlayStation or Nintendo instead of Xbox. In fact, they probably already have it. So you're just kind of like making up people's minds.
I've been telling most of my Xbox friends that I think that's in their best. That's like in their best interest.
Yeah.
Buy PlayStation 5. You get the best of everything.
Oh, you know what? And this isn't for everyone, but like my library is on Xbox. I think that's a big reason why I would stay. But that's not everyone. That's far from the majority.
I want to say, I think the Rude told me that. maybe the root or TPR, they told me the same thing. And I totally get it. You've got 10, maybe more than 10, and maybe for me and you, more than 10 years.
Oh, yeah.
Library built to be. I've got hundreds of games over there.
Yeah.
I have slowly, I think, maybe potentially moved all of the ones that I cared about to Steam.
Yeah.
So like I wouldn't, I would hate feeling like, well, I guess I just stuck here in this thing I don't like because I've bought this stuff before.
Yeah.
But I get it. You wouldn't want to leave, or if your friends are there, right? That's such a heavy attachment. Like
that's what got Xbox on the map to begin with. Is they pioneered Xbox Live, and we're all playing games with each other.
People hooked up, and they lost that.
Whoa. They really
no Destiny, no Call of Duty. I'm sorry.
They really hooked up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I forgot what my question for you was going to be. Damn.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, I remember now what it was. So there was a couple people who have been sort of identified as leaving Xbox. Again, this is on purexbox.com. Multiple industry veterans to leave Xbox Studios amidst layoffs, including from Rare and ZeniMax Studios. I want to say it was Rare. Directors Greg Mayles.
Yep.
I don't know that I have clarity on this. The language surrounding these news stories is that Greg is leaving the company, and I don't know if is he like being like let go,
I think it's,
or is he quitting in response to this stuff?
Because
that's how I read it, but I don't know if I think I read it as I'm out of here. I've been in this business for so long, I can't be part of this anymore. And I feel like that makes it even worse.
When you have some stature,
right?
I think it's usually like, I'll tell you how it works. Like in like my job, like county government, like a director never gets fired. It's more like we're going to fire you if you don't resign.
Right. Yeah.
And that's how I was reading. I was like, maybe he was afforded the opportunity to, it's time for me to go. I'm going to leave at the end of the month. I think maybe because Everwild Rare got hit hard. They lost that project, but they lost a lot of the studio too.
Yeah.
And I think you'd think that maybe he would be responsible for that. He's the head of the, like the legendary created Banjo.
Yes.
Like
if
Todd Howard
lifetime membership. That's what I'm saying.
Yes.
Like, at what point do you get to Todd Howard? Like,
you've got to keep those creatives around.
Well, ZeniMax as well. Matt Fryer departing after 18 years of leading the company. Didn't provide a reason in his statement. This, again, tells me he's leaving, but maybe it is like you should go, but whatever. His statement said, after more than 18 years leading ZeniMax Online Studios, I'll be stepping away later this month. The studio and Elder Scrolls Online will be in great hands under the direction of new studio head, Joe Burba, along with executive producer Susan Kath and game director Rich Lambert. Together, this leadership team, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, he's leaving. I don't know. Maybe this is obviously speculation. This to me screams statement. Like I'm making a statement. I'm leaving because this is bogus.
I'm not okay with this.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't be.
And they'd be comfortable to do so. Like
Microsoft pulled last quarter was like crazy, ungodly amount of money.
Yep.
They're like the second highest valuated company in the world. And I understand why, because they make money, but like they could afford to keep all this.
Well, let's watch where they go, Donnie. Let's earmark this. Let's keep an eye on these two guys.
Where they've been going.
what?
Oh, I'm sorry. You mean
they'll show up at a PlayStation studio or those who knows where.
I thought I took it as let's watch where Xbox goes with these studios. Where I'm like, well, we see what.
Yeah, no, that too.
The direction they've been going. Yeah, because this is. I mean, we didn't really. This is off the heels of Austin and Tango too.
Yep.
That's the thing. I was like, this is a great place for these games to exist. They'll be taken care of here. And since I said that, we've lost like vicious. 6 studios.
It's been vicious, man. Holy
That's
crap.
Killer, man. That's brutal.
Yeah. Damn. Oh, man. Anything else you want to highlight from the week that was this this absolutely hopefully it's just contained. Can this just be it? Can this be this cannot bleed into next week? We want to be excited about video games here on the Xbox Drive, but we had to do it this way, everybody. I know it's the
your
typical.
Website says State of Decay 3 apparently is safe for now.
How? How is that one safe? I mean, my God.
Good question.
No, that's such a disrespectful reaction. That's just my gut, and my honest to goodness, genuine response. Oh man, you got turn 10. I just have to revise and remember like all the things we just talked about. Forza Motorsport, gutted, but State of Decay
still going.
Okay, if you say so. I don't understand it. Trust the process, I suppose.
Damn.
Yeah. Well, that's this week in Xbox land, I suppose. Goodness gracious. Oh.
Just,
look at your face.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, you just feel like you don't want to like it. It feels bad to even like it. You know?
Well,
like how bad would it feel right now? You sit down, like you go over to your console right now, you get off this podcast, you hit that button, you hear that chime, you're like, fuck yeah, Xbox is awesome. Like, does that sound fun right now? Like, I would feel bad about myself if I was doing like, this sucks. Like, this sucks. This controller's like, I don't even want to look at it right now.
No, I want to play Lies of P.
That's an irrational response to have. Right?
Yeah, I get it.
But like I said, I want to like the things that that I'm using.
I mean, that's a whole. It's really a massive topic about separating art from artists and all these different things.
That's the thing. Like, I don't do that with anything else in life.
Right.
Like, I don't care to like Dell. I have with their Alienware.
Yeah, there's a lot to hate about your iPhone, everybody.
Yeah, of course.
You know what I mean?
I'm not thinking about that, but
yeah.
But with these things, I think because we love these things more, with these things, I do feel that way. And weeks like this suck.
Yeah, pretty rough, man. Well, Donnie, I think that might bring us at least close to the end of episode 393 of the Xbox Drive. A quick thank you once again to Boots, who I believe has gifted 50 Carpool Gaming memberships all at once. I've never seen anything like. I feel like that's an error of some sort, but we'll go ahead and say thank you.
On the other end, Boots is screaming at his computer. No,
it was supposed to be 5. It was 5. Not 50. 5.
Cancel payment immediately.
Yeah, we'll get hit with a nice refund later. In any case, thank you so much to Boots. Before we go ahead and thank everybody who supports us at patreon.com/carpoolgaming, Donnie, go ahead once again and tell the people where they can find you. I'm so glad we got to do this. This is everything works out the way it's supposed to be. This is how this week should have gone. You and I needed to cover it in this way. We're not burying our head in the sands. We needed to do it. So thank you for joining me tonight. Absolutely. Tell the people where they can find you, my friend.
Hey guys, I'm Eat the Hype on Blue Sky, and week to week I record several podcasts with me and my gang of lucky friends on the internet called Play Some Video Games, PSVG for short, where you can catch me on Play Some Video Games every Wednesday night and the Nintendo Shack every Sunday morning.
Play Some Video Games is just you nailed it, man. Just the best bloody name. Holy shit, you guys crushed it.
I remember when I got it, we all thought it was so dumb.
No, it's excellent. Like, just do that.
Yeah.
Play some video games. It's like a great call to action. Like, oh, it's excellent.
What I love is like when we see like listeners, friends, other podcasters, when they do a tweet, it often somebody will be like, hey, go play some video games. Like, I'm always like responding like, hey, that's us.
Cha-ching.
Like,
yep. Trademark. Another nickel. Nice. As for me, you can find me on Blue Sky at CPG Sean, and in the Discord as well. Let's just all support each other through this difficult time, as well as obviously everybody who unfortunately lost their livelihoods thanks to this conglomerate, gigantic.
I was going to make a joke, and now I don't want now.
Oh man,
never mind.
Anyway, thanks to everybody who supports independent content like this at patreon.com/carpoolgaming. We are so thankful. We could not do it without you guys. So I'm going to take a quick moment and say a special thank you to our ultimate producers, Jonathan Brown. He does the music for this show. You go listen on Spotify and Apple Music and everywhere else. You can go to linktree/pme.jib. Do it while you work. Do it while you sleep. Do it while you play. Do it while you go to the bathroom. Whatever you like to do. Always be listening to PME.
Some video games?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Listen to it and play some video games. Look, I got to say that for later. TechMike says, whether you're a Kevesi or Agnian, you are a Xenobabe at heart. Thank you so much to our ultimate producers. Our platinum producers, Peje EP, Smokin' Yo, The Captain, and Tim Paullin, and all of our gold members, Adam K, Anna, Awesome Dave, 1337, Peje, Brad Moore, Brian Reese, Cecily Carrozza, Dan and Luma, Dannohh, Emily, O'Kelly, Yon32, Laura, Liger Woods, 330, Mr. Giggles, OldMrFrump, and Stephen Keller. Donnie, I got you with that Benny, didn't I? I got you the Benny and the Jets. Benny! I don't even know if my microphone's picking that up.
Good.
these days. All right. For me, for Donnie, for those peacefully resting, Fee, Bowza, and Mitch, we'll see you guys back again next week for another fun-filled episode of the Xbox Drive. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Thanks so much for tuning into this episode of the Xbox Drive. Now, before you drive off, be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube and follow Carpool Gaming on socials. Don't forget that we've got some awesome Xbox Drive merch on carpoolgaming.com, and you can also support the show on Patreon at patreon.com/carpoolgaming for exclusive content. Links to everything are in the description. We'll see you next week.